All right, welcome back in studio. I'm Eric.
And I'm Yana.
And this is the Agents Confidential podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are going to be talking about networking. And as I was working with Yana on our prep for this, I feel like there's kind of two sides of this networking that we want to focus on today.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm going to start us off on the physical side, where we're just talking more tactical prep. What are we doing physically in these areas? And then we're going to get into some of the more mental and social side of it with Yana and myself. Buckle up. This is going to be coming at you fast. We'll have some notes, but here we go. So when networking physically, where do you position yourself? So we want to stand near a high traffic area. Position yourself near entrances, food and drink stations, restrooms. I don't agree with that one. People are headed that way for a different reason. But place yourself where people are going to naturally gather so you're in the spot to be rather than coming into that or trying to create it. It increases your chances of bumping into attendees and starting conversations. Avoid sitting too early. Sitting can make you feel and appear less approachable. Stay on your feet during the initial networking phase to engage actively. Typically, during those times of engagement, you will find the people that you want to sit with. Posture and body language. I believe it's 30% of our communication is nonverbal. So we want to stand confidently, keep your shoulders back, stand tall, maintain a relaxed stance. Avoid crossing your arms or seeming closed off, right?
Yeah.
We want to smile, make eye contact. A warm smile and direct eye contact show approachability and interest. And staying off of your phone is a very large one. Don't turn your back to the crowd. We're talking about facing the room, staying open to new conversations by angling your body upward and toward others. Again, casually meeting somebody for a few seconds could absolutely change your world. If it doesn't go well, it's really not going to affect it that much, right? So we want to be open for good and don't worry about the bad and move on. I would say, networking, kind of like a Hall of Fame batter. If you can make a good connection with only 30% of the people you talk to, you'd be doing really well. If you need more referral partners, more customers, then just talk to more people.
Definitely.
So let's see, this next one was movement and engagement. Walking around the room strategically. I tell my wife I'm going to take a lap. So I'm going to circulate the room in a natural, unhurried way. We'll look for small groups or individuals who seem approachable, or walking up to that poor, lonely soul that looks like they don't have somebody to talk to.
Definitely go up to those people.
Might be the highlight of their day. Could be the highlight of your day.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, I saw you sitting over here. Just want to introduce myself. Be ready to hit the eject button if, you don't want to continue that. We'll get into the mental side of it. But joining groups gracefully, approach groups of 3 or more. 2-person conversations seem a little bit more private. So if there's just a one-on-one going on, maybe you don't want to go into that group. I've done the kind of linger where you are not quite in that group, but you're near it and you're making some eye contact.
Yeah.
You can get a feel really quick if they're willing to open that up, or if you're, politely eavesdropping, somebody tells a joke, you laugh, all of a sudden the circle opens up and you're part of it.
And always be the person to invite someone else to the circle.
Yeah, absolutely. Or this is just a light comment like, mind if I join you? You could say, I'm new here, all the different verbal ways of getting into that group, which we'll get into. Stay mobile, but not overly busy. So spend enough time with each person to build a little rapport, but know when to move on. Getting to know a little bit about the person, what they do, how you can help them. You've got, kind of your marching orders and move on. All right, couple more here. How to manage the sitting situation. Choosing the right seat. If sitting is available and appropriate, like in a meal setting, Sit near the center of the activity rather than isolating yourself.
I like that one.
We all know when we walk into a certification,
Mm-hmm.
the first seats to fill up are in the back.
Mm-hmm.
The next seats to fill up are near the exits.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever's last has to sit up front or in the middle,
Yeah,
when those should fill up first.
I love sitting in the front.
Yeah. If anything, you can engage with the speaker more, and then you're not asking a question from the back of the room
Right,
across everyone, where you can have more engagement with that person.
for sure.
So that could be a sitting situation strategy for a in-person training.
Mm-hmm.
Would be sitting in the front of the room.
Yeah.
Avoid staying seated for too long. After finishing a meal or conversation, stand up and re-engage with the room, work in that room again, get to the people that you didn't get to earlier. This one's interesting. Use props to your advantage. So carrying a drink or a small plate. Holding a drink or a small plate can make you seem more approachable and engaging, but avoid eating while speaking.
Yeah, so maybe just drink.
Golf, just drink.
Just drink.
But keeping one hand free. So it is most proper to shake with our right hand,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny. Do you know how handshaking became a thing?
No.
Yeah, you're too young to know these things. Like, why do we shake hands?
I have no idea.
So think about back in the Old West,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was literally to show them that you weren't holding a gun
Oh my
and that
gosh.
you'd rather shake their hand than draw.
Wow. Interesting.
At least that's what Wikipedia might have told me one time.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Feel free to fact check me on any of these interesting little stories. But it talks about keeping one hand free, always available for a handshake, and exchanging of business cards.
I want to make one quick point
Yeah.
here. If you have a cold drink, try keeping it in your left hand so your right hand isn't cold handshake.
Ah,
Mhm.
that's a good point.
A little thing. But,
Yeah, but absolutely right, because that's basically that first impression, right?
Mhm, which we will get into.
Last couple points here about managing group dynamics. Look for groups with open body language and a visible gap for you to join. So again, kind of patrolling the waters, if you will, and looking for a good opportunity. Avoid interrupting closed circles where everyone is facing inward. They're kind of closed off and kind of have their group settled. Find somebody else. You can excuse yourself gracefully. I've done this a number of times, and I apologize if anybody actually realizes it, but my wife's calling me. Sorry.
Oh my
I'll be
gosh.
right back.
Yeah.
Or you could feel free to throw me under the bus if I'm not at the meeting. Say, "Oh, Eric's calling me. I gotta take this." Is a great way to break gracefully if you are stuck in a situation that you want to get out of.
Yeah, you can say things like, "I've really enjoyed our chat. Don't want to keep you from meeting others, but let's exchange contact info."
I always call that falling on the sword, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. This is my fault, but I'm sure you have better things to do than talk to me.
Another one I love is, before I go, is there anyone here that I can introduce you to? I really like that one. It's a great way to provide value to them, introducing more people, and it's easier to go up to someone that you know to introduce someone else, or as a group of two to someone you don't know. Or if they say, "Oh, you know what? Do you know that person?" "You know what? I don't. Let's go up there together. Let's introduce ourselves together." Just a little bit easier.
Which is a great tactic. That isn't on here is bring a buddy,
Bring a buddy.
right? A wingman, if you will, or a
Absolutely.
wing woman, and work the room together. And if you're friendly with either a colleague in your agency or somebody else, or you just see those common people at these things and say, "You know what? Let's get after it. Let's work the room together. I'm going to start over here. You start over there." Put a friendly little bet on it saying, how many people can you network with that actually you have an actual conversation with, and loser buys drinks. I don't know. Have
For
some
sure.
fun with it.
Yeah, and if one more thing, if you want to exit a conversation gracefully, and you're in a conversation that you really want to keep going, you can say, "I'd love to keep this conversation going. Want to connect on LinkedIn, or can I follow up with you next week to chat more about this?"
Right.
And go on your way.
Nice. I like it. This last one is pretty good, is monitor your energy. So taking short breaks when needed, step aside to recharge, check your notes or review your goals. I think too, staying present, and I struggle with this of I get really excited for opportunities with new people.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to figure it all out right then. Like, oh,
Yeah.
we can do this and then we can get that and then we'll get this involved. And it's like, whoa, dude, like we just met.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, this could be cool, but it doesn't have to get all figured out today. So staying present, avoiding distractions like excessive phone use, which can make you seem disengaged, or just being that like eager puppy.
Yeah.
That's like humping your leg and
Oh
you're
my
like, dude,
gosh.
just
Calm
calm
down.
down. We'll get there. Because, being overeager can be a turnoff. So those kind of quick fire, we'll have some notes for you guys, but I wanted to go through that tactical,
Mm-hmm.
which on the physical versus mental side, I feel stronger. So let's talk about the mental side of
Yeah.
networking.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate, your network is your net worth. So not just a catchy phrase there, it is the reality of being an insurance agent. In this industry, who you know can be just as important as what you know. So before going to a networking event, set some goals. Define what success looks like for you. If it's a number of contacts, specific types of connections, etc., just define what that looks like for you. And research the attendee list. Identify some people that you want to make sure that you talk to. You can also send them a quick message on LinkedIn before and say, oh, I see you're going to this too. Would love to connect while we're there.
I got one to add to that
Mhm.
is I heard from somebody, always go up to the presenter. Like if there's like,
Oh, for sure.
a main speaker that was brought in or whatever,
Yeah.
like they probably have a huge network
Mm-hmm.
and they're there to network
Right.
as well.
Everyone's there to do the same thing.
Yeah. So going up to them that gives them another person or saying, hey, I really liked this portion of what you did, or I just wanted to share that I really didn't agree with what you said.
Mhm.
But it made me think, what have you. It doesn't always have to be this huge compliment.
Can also just be, I found this point really interesting. Would love to discuss with you. Can I follow up with you next week? Here's my
Yeah.
card, or can I have your card? Obviously, slow down when you talk. Don't talk as fast as I just did. But you get the point.
Yep.
Next up, you can create your little elevator pitch. So keep it concise, highlight your unique value proposition, and practice delivering it naturally. Practice, practice, practice.
And we are going to do a episode just on the elevator pitch. So
Mhm.
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned on that. Another thing that you can do and set up before you go is leveraging digital tools. So something that I love to do is make, Eric is showing it to me right now. Make your phone wallpaper a QR code that links to your website, LinkedIn, or a digital business card. Bring physical business cards as a backup just in case, but it eliminates the need and it's just kind of fun. Eric, you just had experience with this down in Florida. How did it go?
Went really good. It's so easy on the wallpaper on your phone. You can sleep your phone and then tap it and boom, there it is. You don't have to do anything. Instead,
Mm-hmm.
I was doing it for the podcast
Right.
and just having conversations with people, or I'd say a story. Oh, I was listening to a podcast. Do you listen to many podcasts?
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, yeah, I tap my phone. I said, we just started one.
Yeah.
Would you mind? Would you do me a favor? People actually really like being asked
Yeah.
for things. Or could you do me a favor and give me your opinion on
Yeah.
this?
Mm-hmm.
People really love giving their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And they scan it and goes right to the page. And it was funny. The gal who first did it automatically subscribed. Hadn't even listened to it yet.
Shout out to you, whoever you
Yeah, I
are.
was like, thank you so much for
Yeah.
automatically subscribing. Reminder to subscribe. But it's super simple and easy. And I think too is here's another thing when we say like old school versus new school.
Mm-hmm.
If I gave out 1,000 paper business cards,
Mm-hmm.
but only, let's say, 100 actually that contact went into the person I gave it to, into their phone,
Mm-hmm.
my probability of getting callbacks are probably only out of 100.
Yeah.
If your number isn't in the phone of your clients, your prospects, your people you're networking with, your referral partners, chances are they're not going to go find that card
Mm-hmm.
and call you. They're going to search on their phone under insurance or whatever they remember about you and pull you up that way.
Yeah.
So getting your contact into that person's phone, I think that would be a great metric,
For sure.
or like a goal of being like,
Yeah.
not handing out cards. I want, this is my card. I do digital.
Yeah.
Can you say?
And honestly, using LinkedIn for that, because it's a metric, a digital metric that you can track that day. You can say, I have a goal of making 10 connections at this networking event. You can have your QR code. They're really free, easy to make, linked to your profile on LinkedIn. Say, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. Quick. I mean, most people have that downloaded on their phone if they're going to a networking event.
Yep.
Then you get those notifications. You can stand with that person right now and connect with them on LinkedIn. You will have that notification that you can revisit later that day, tomorrow, next week, whatever you want to do, and set follow-ups with all of those people. Okay, next up, before thinking about dressing and acting the part, so professional yet approachable attire.
So I have a different take on dressing and acting the part. Maybe you want to, depending on the situation, you may want to go more opposite and be super memorable by being a little bit out there. I think of the, is it the Bananas baseball thing where it's like it's a AAA, AA team or whatever, and the guy has literally the brightest yellow suit and top hat that you'd ever see. I think like Dumb and Dumber, like of the baby blue and the orange tuxedos. Like you go to that event, there's 150 people there wearing a black tux. There's 2 wearing the bright ones. Those guys will be remembered. Very similar back to my story of being an EMT for AEP. When they say you're the only person that's ever brought us cocktails, I'm going to be remembered.
Yeah.
Again, you have to know your audience and play that out for yourself. But I had a agent tell me she does senior expos and she wears a very large t-shirt that has a cartoon bikini body drawn on it. And she's got the sunglasses and the beads. I said, your attire? She goes, the seniors absolutely love it.
That's so funny.
They want to have fun. They want to work with somebody that's fun. That's me. I'm not going to wear a suit and be like everybody else because the people I like working with don't like that.
Yeah.
And she didn't like that.
Yeah.
So she's attracting who she wants. Now, if you are straight-laced, suit and tie, even vest, blah, 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 then wear that. That's what you're going to attract.
Absolutely.
And I would look at your clients a little bit and saying, what do they dress like? I know when I was in the financial services industry, we'd work with a ton of business owners, CEOs that didn't wear ties. So we didn't wear ties.
Yeah.
They can choose and dress however they want. If you're trying to impress somebody by dressing nicer, your Sunday best, is that actually going to attract what you want?
Yeah.
Or I've had people say, I'm glad you're not wearing a tie. I would want to cut it off your shirt.
Yeah. I think it does come down to nailing first impression and making a first impression so you can, wear something unique. Wear a conversation starter. It can be a subtle icebreaker. Like I know for women, it's easy to, if I'm at a networking event and I see someone who's dressed really cute or like has amazing shoes on, I'm going to go compliment her shoes and starts up this whole conversation. So
I've seen it with a necklace. I remember actually I was standing next to this person and the third girl in a row came up and complimented her necklace. And I was like, wow, everybody loves your necklace. She goes, why do you think I'm wearing it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because everybody comes up and talks to me about it. It's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe that's the outfit or the accessory that like, oh, a lot of people like this.
So that actually moves perfectly into what we're going to talk about next is at the event. So positioning yourself for maximum interaction, like we had talked about before, and mastering your first impression. So, first impression happens in seconds, but a lasting impression comes from confidence, engagement, and the ability to make others feel valued. It takes, on average, 8 positive interactions to overcome a single negative first impression. So this is important. This makes nailing your first impression critical, especially in networking, because you may not get another chance. Thinking about this, stand tall with open posture, which I know that we've talked about. Avoid crossing your arms, which I know we've talked about. But also, when you're walking in, don't walk in staring at your phone. Walk in with your phone in your bag or your pocket, with your head held high, smile on your face, or if you don't want to smile, think the word smile and your face will naturally soften. Of course, maintain eye contact. It shows confidence and attentiveness. And then this next one, have a strong opening line. Instead of just saying, hi, I'm, insert your name, say something like, I love attending events like these. What inspired you to come today? Or
that's awesome.
What's been your biggest takeaway from this event so far? Something like that. And I know we just mentioned this, but wearing a conversation starter. So unique accessory, something interesting like a tie or bracelet can be subtle icebreakers. Also, branded clothing, so something with your logo on it, can reinforce your brand recognition. Ultimately, you want to show genuine interest in these other people that you're networking with. So give your undivided attention, avoid checking your phone, scanning the room. I mean, you want to scan the room, of course, but avoid doing it while you're talking to someone. Do that in between. Not occasionally, of course. Use the verbal affirmations like, that's interesting, or tell me more. Which leads us into this next part of being a great conversationalist. You want to ask engaging questions. So here is a rapid fire of great icebreaker questions that you can ask. So related to the event, you can ask these 3 questions. 1, what brought you to this event? 2, what's been your favorite part of the event so far? 3, are you first time attendee or are you a regular? You know, that depends on if the networking event is a regular thing. But
so if it's industry specific, you could ask, how did you get started in your field? What's the most exciting thing happening in your business right now? Which I think is great because it's a positive thing about what's going on instead of just like, I've been in this for 20 years, blah, blah, blah. You can also gauge somebody's passion for the industry and saying, answering that question about what's going on and what's exciting. What's a common misconception about your industry that you wish people understood?
I like that one.
That's a great one.
Yeah, and some personal fun questions that you can ask is, if you could instantly master one new skill, what would it be? What's the best piece of business advice you've ever received? And then what are 3 things you can't live without? Just some fun ones. Pro tip, people love talking about themselves, so focus on asking them before shifting the conversation to yourself. A great conversationalist listens more than they speak.
Which is really interesting, Yana. If you meet somebody at a event, doesn't even have to be a networking event, and you're asking them about what they do, and you're asking them about their dreams, and you're asking them, all the things, and they don't ask you anything. Do you even want to tell them about yourself? Like,
yeah, you can kind of gauge that, and you can exit the conversation if you want.
Right, and being like, yeah, I'm doing all these, I'm really trying here, and they're just maybe oblivious to the fact that they're not asking you.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things like square peg round holes. Like this person doesn't want to talk, isn't willing to ask me anything. Why am I even going to spend my time telling them?
Right.
Right. And they just may not know how to network.
Yeah. You should send them this episode. So another thing that you can do is mirror energy and enthusiasm. So if they're passionate, match their excitement without overdoing it, of course. And if they're reserved, maybe keep it warm and engaging, but not super overwhelming.
This is a great one. It's a networking skill. I always tell people, try to be a chameleon, match the energy of the room. Talk about doing that with your dress, with your body language, all those sorts of things.
Yeah. And of course, avoid interrupting. We have an episode on active listening, so go ahead and listen to that one. Another thing that you can do while you're at the event is share meaningful insights without dominating the conversation. So networking is not about selling. It is about building trust and credibility for yourself. Be concise and be valuable. Instead of long-winded explanations, give short, engaging stories or insights, because ultimately everyone's there to network. You want to keep things short and sweet and just connect with people after.
Give this example. I want the
Yeah.
listeners to hear this.
So an example of this is I had a client last year who was struggling to find the right Medicare plan. Turns out they were missing out on a benefit that saved them $2,000 a year. That's why I love what I do.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So just keep things short and sweet and concise, because everyone is short on time. You want to connect with as many people as you can in the room. Keep it meaningful, but keep it concise.
Because if I was going to hear that short story and say I'm going to walk away and I want to remember 3 things about Yana.
Mm-hmm.
She helps her people save money. You had mentioned Medicare, so she works with older people, so she likes to help older people, and she's super passionate about that.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't I want to send people your way?
Right. Exactly. Another thing is to relate to their experiences. So if they share a challenge, offer a quick tip or an insight that's been helpful but not pushy. So an example of this is, oh, you're struggling with lead generation? I recently started a referral program that's working really well for me, and I'm happy to share some tips on that if you'd like.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And know when to exit conversations gracefully, of course. Networking is about quality over quantity, but you also need to meet multiple people. So know how to exit these conversations. Know that we've talked about this already.
Mm-hmm. I like this line in here. Say, I'm going to go grab a drink and network a bit more before the session starts, but I'd love to follow up with you later.
Yeah.
Or follow up with you after the conference or what have you. Like, it's just being honest.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of making a excuse and then they see you talking with somebody else and be like, oh, thought you had to leave.
Yeah.
Not that they would come over and say that, but it's probably what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying, no, like they said, there's the drink in his hand and he's networking with more people.
Yep. Once again, it's about building credibility and trust. So don't lie to people.
Yeah. Yana, the next thing says following up for success. And I feel like this is the classic, we went on a date together. Do I text? Do I call? When do I do it? Do I use emojis? Do I send an email? I mean, again, this is professional dating, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, what's the current? Like, what's the standard operating procedure on some of these timelines?
For sure. Well, ultimately, that conversation should not end when the event does. So keep the conversation alive, the connection alive. Follow up within 24 to 48 hours. Send a message or an email mentioning specific part of your conversation. For an example, it was great talking to you about digital marketing strategies at X event. Here's the tool that I mentioned that helped me and might be useful for you. Provide value in the follow-up, of course. Share an article, another event invitation, or a referral that helps them. And then you want to stay in touch consistently. So don't just connect and disappear. Check in every few months with a quick message or an invite. And another thing that's going to help you is organizing your contacts in a CRM or a networking log. That can be really, really simple if you want it to be, but schedule periodic touch points to nurture these relationships over time. You're going to want to do that.
Seems like a lot of work.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Your network is your net worth. You want to keep these connections alive.
Yeah. So I think it's important to call it out though. Like, just like any good relationship, marriage, partnership, what have you, they do take work. You know, if we took a really good hard look in the mirror and say, why am I not better at networking? Maybe you're just not trying hard enough.
Yeah. Try some of these tactics if you're struggling and see how they go. Some quick pro tips for long-term networking success is give more than you take. The more you help others succeed, the more they'll want to help you. And look for ways to offer value to them, whether it's an introduction, a helpful resource, sharing insights that are going to be helpful for them.
Brian has said this a number of times. The way to get what you want in life is to help everyone around you get what they want.
Absolutely. That's definitely a key to success in networking for sure. Be a regular attendee is another one. So networking is about consistency. Showing up once won't build relationships, but repeated persistence makes you memorable. Continue to go to those industry events, community meetings, networking groups regularly to establish that trust. Another one here is to track your results. So keep a simple networking log CRM to track who you meet and when to follow up so that you can make sure that you're getting the most out of these networking events.
And I really like doing this, and it can be very challenging to know specifically when you've met somebody for the first time, because you're meeting them for the first time. You may not think you ever talk with them again. But I've done this in my personal review of how I built the book of business that I've had with our agents, and saying, oh, wow, I met this person 2 years ago when I first started at this event, and have, really consistently talked with them for, years maybe at these different events and things like that. And it just has built up that trust to the point where they are finally ready to move forward.
For sure.
And then, also tracking what has come of that.
Yeah,
where,
absolutely.
Oh, good things happen when I went to this event. I need to keep going to these events.
Yep.
And I say sometimes it's really hard to put a dollar value on why am I going to this conference in Las Vegas that, I got to fly and the hotel and the food. And it's like, it's really hard to quantify, but we know by going to events and using these tactics, your network will grow.
Absolutely. And another thing to do is to diversify your network. So don't just connect with people in your industry, expand to complementary fields. So for us in the insurance industry, that's like financial advisors, realtors, or other business owners. The more diverse your network, the more opportunities you will uncover.
Love it. All right, let's recap. Networking isn't just about showing up. It's about showing up prepared, engaged, and ready to follow up. Who you know can be even more important than what you know. Prepare before the event. Set goals, refine your pitch, and leverage tools like QR codes on your wallpaper of your phone. Engage with confidence. Ask great questions. Be a great listener and make meaningful connections. Follow up with intention. A quick, thoughtful message within 24 to 48 hours can turn a handshake into a real business opportunity. And play the long game. The best networkers aren't just looking for the sale. They're looking to build lasting, mutual, beneficial relationships.
Definitely.
We've got an actionable challenge, Yana. Tell them what it is.
So we are challenging you to put one of these strategies into action at your next event. And if you are attending Medicarians in Vegas, that is the perfect place to start. We are actually going to be there. And when is it? End of March?
Early April, yep.
So
March 30th through April 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah. So we're going to be there in Vegas podcasting. So
podcasting from Vegas.
Podcasting from Vegas. We want to meet up with you. If you're an agent heading to Vegas for Medicarians, please come find us, say hi, and let's talk about what's working for you in your business. And of course, if you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe to the podcast, share it with a friend, and let us know what networking tip you will be using next, because every handshake is an opportunity. So go out there, make it count, and hopefully we'll see you in Vegas.
See you in Vegas.